This is the dawn of a new era in British karting. Over 550 drivers in 12 classes competing for victory over 18 race weekends. This is the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships.
Chris Whitton takes the flag.
Going to be enough for
TKM's next champion.
to win again in TKM Extreme.
Honda Cadet will be incredibly close at Fulbeck, and for Macy Hitter, it's her first weekend in her new squad, the Synergy Race Works team. We caught up with her as she hopes to make an impact in a fierce field of drivers.
Well, this is my first weekend at Synergy, but they've been helping me really well and giving me really good data and things for me to improve on my corners. Well, it's quite a fast track in that, but it can be very dangerous at the same time because their curbs are quite high. Well, I had a really good first heat. Second one wasn't the best, but just try and make my way up the grid and just improve. We've got Key Inverter, Sonny Smith, Jack Hobson, Mitchell Gibbons and people like that, and I just really want to push myself and keep trying to improve my corners to try and get up to their speed.
Mitchell Gibbons in pole position from Hayden Eldridge. Jack Hobson and Connor Duncan on the second row. Jaden Gregg and Rylan Ekberg with Kian Nakamura-Berta only 7th on the grid beside Oscar Tooten. Then Ewan Sharman, Joshua Gambar from Stephen Duncan, Sonny Smith, Rayburn, Gregory, Perrelli, Uzakov, Drummond and Swain. Engine revs will rise, lights come on, and we're going to go racing at Fulbeck now! Cracking start from Hayden Eldridge. He launches in front of Mitchell Gibbons and gets the jump as they run down to the chicane for the first time. An absolute rip-roarer from Hayden Eldridge. They go down to the hairpin on the run for the first corner, and he holds the inside line. It's the perfect start for the 41 as Hayden Eldridge hits the front. Looks like a relatively clean start further back. Oh no, I spoke too soon. One or two drivers at the back having a little bit of an issue there. And two of them are in the barriers, unfortunately. So it's already been a bit of a shaky start as the drivers continue to battle through the first lap. A couple of drivers wanting to keep their position and maintain law and order. Up at the front end of the field, it's still Hayden Eldridge. Mitchell Gibbons is right there in second, and up to third has come the O-Plate Connor Duncan. And Rylan Ekberg has charged forward to fourth place. What a start from Rylan Ekberg. He's having an absolute flyer of a weekend. Great to see him at the front end. And still, he charges his way forward. So now to pick up the pieces as to who the drivers are at the sharp end of the field, and also to figure out who was off the circuit at the end of the first lap. Unfortunately, we lost a few of them. Ethan Simmons was one, and the other was Blake Ticehurst, unfortunately. So two drivers coming a cropper, and a warning flag goes out to the 44 of Cruz Speakman. Not sure why, but certainly the officials have seen something that needs a slap on the wrist. So Hayden Eldridge leads the way, Mitchell Gibbons second, Connor Duncan the O-Plate is third, then it's Rylan Ekberg from Jack Hobson, Kian Nakamura-Berta, and Ekberg goes for third. Rylan Ekberg in a third position. Great bit of racing from Rylan Ekberg. Is this going to be the weekend where he gets his first British Kart Championship podium? He's certainly looking that way right now in third position. Great run from Rylan Ekberg. Connor Duncan in fourth place now. And in fifth position it is Jack Hobson at 28. Then Kian Nakamura-Berta, who's about to lose it to Jaden Gregg. Jaden Gregg goes through and takes the place away from the championship leader in the first chicane. An amazing race in Honda Cadet. But what does this do to the championship? Well, it ties it. If it finishes like this, Mitchell Gibbons and Kian Nakamura-Berta will be dead level on points at the top of the championship after 3 weekends. This is how close it is in Honda Cadet now. So Gibbons there in second place will want to get past Hayden Eldridge. If he can, he takes the lead of the championship. But now up the inside of Kian Nakamura-Berta comes the Charmander. Ewan Sharman gets through and takes the place away from Kian Nakamura-Berta. So down to 8th goes the Japanese driver. And next up is his Winter Series rival, Sonny Smith. So now Kian Nakamura-Berta and Sonny Smith are dueling away for 8th position. But up in front, no danger for Hayden Eldridge. He continues to lead the race. Hobson up past Connor Duncan for 4th place as well. So Gregg and Sharman both get past Kian Nakamura-Berta, and that means that Mitchell Gibbons now takes a 2-point lead in the Drivers' Championship if it stays like this. They come down the short stretch towards the chicane in the second part of the lap to the second sector, and Gibbons leading comfortably in front of Ekberg. Ekberg now second in front of Eldridge. So Gibbons leads and Eldridge is now... Ekberg goes for the lead. Rylan Ekberg takes the lead in the British Kart Championships for the first time in his young career. Rylan Ekberg leads in a British Kart Championship final. Here at Fulbeck, he is absolutely flying away in the lead. Go on, Rylan! Always great to see a new face at the front of the field, and Rylan Ekberg is making full use of the opportunity. Mitchell Gibbons now second, Eldridge third from Hobson, Gregg, Charman, Nakamura Berta, Smith, Duncan and Tooten. Henry Gregory doing well in 11th place. Agambar is 12th from Stephen Duncan, Zach Drummond, then Perrelly, Usakov, Speakman, McKay, Kakurilo Yeomans and Swain in 20th. But Rylan Ekberg is putting on an amazing show here as he leads in the British Championship for the first time in his young career. Mitchell Gibbons in second place, wants the lead of the championship and the race. Up the inside goes Eldridge. Eldridge takes second, and that gives Ekberg a little bit of breathing space up front. Gibbons comes back at him, side by side, and Eldridge holds the place, and that's given Ekberg daylight between himself and second place. It's a good gap for Ekberg. Can he take his first win in the British Championship? If he does so, that'll be a very popular win as Gibbons gets back in a second past Eldridge. And if they keep squabbling, then Ekberg is going to get his first win on default. They need to work together if they want to catch up to him, and they need to stop this scrap for second place. They've got a long race to go still. 10 minutes still left in this final at Fulbeck, and Rylan Ekberg must be grinning from ear to ear as he leads the race. He checks over his left shoulder, and so far, so good. Now Mitchell Gibbons runs in second place in front of the 41 of Hayden Eldridge. Hobson is fourth, up to fifth has come Jaden Gregg, having a much stronger second final. The number 6, Sonny Smith, has worked his way up as well, so he's now tucked in behind Jaden Gregg. Sonny Smith working his magic in front of Ewan Charman. Then it's Kian Nakamura Berta. He's really struggled this weekend. It's not exactly his favourite racetrack, Fulbeck. And now up the inside, trying to make the move on Connor Duncan, up on two wheels on the curve. Comes Stephen Duncan trying to come through. Henry Gregory was in that mix as well. I think somewhere that might have been Gregory actually trying to make the move on Connor Duncan. I'm not sure if it worked either. Down the straight, up to the chicane, and Rylan Ekberg and the Project 1 team are rubbing their hands together with glee. This lead is perfect. It's a second at the moment, but there's a long queue of drivers forming up for second place, and we're going to go together as Hobson goes for third on Eldridge. Hobson goes through, Gregg goes through, and now Sonny Smith as well. Eldridge is down to sixth. So Ekberg leads, Gibbons is through to second, and then it's Jack Hobson in front of Jaden Gregg, Sonny Smith, Hayden Eldridge, and then Ewan Charman and Kian Nakamura Berta. They go down the main straight. Is there an opportunity now for Ewan Charman to make the bid to get through on Hayden Eldridge for sixth position? He certainly looks hungry enough to do it. Through to the hairpin at the foot of the non-straight, and it's a very impressive run from Rylan Ekberg. His lap times are absolutely sweet at the moment. 52.73 from Rylan Ekberg, new personal best, and he's definitely comparable to the likes of Hobson and Gregg. But Sonny Smith, who's now battling away for fifth position with Hayden Eldridge, is the fastest man on track. And he makes the move on the inside of Eldridge, and he's there. Brilliant run. Kian Nakamura Berta uses the momentum to sweep past Ewan Charmander as well, but Charmander's going to keep his footing. Nakamura Berta gets there anyway. So up to third has come Jack Hobson. He's stuck up behind Mitchell Gibbons. Rylan Ekberg is still your race leader, but Jaden Gregg is on a charge. Up in fourth position, Jaden Gregg is now trying to make his bid. So they go through the chicane. And with half of the race done, we are approaching the end of the first 7.5 minutes. And with 7.5 minutes to go, I don't want to worry anyone, but standing out here in the infield, I can feel the first spots of rain. This is a bit of a tricky moment for the Honda Cadets. It's not rained all weekend, and now there's a possibility of it in the final. Rylan Ekberg leads Gibbons, Hobson and Gregg. Sixth is Sonny Smith in fifth position as Kian Nakamura Berta gets past Hayden Eldridge. That puts him in sixth. So Kian Nakamura Berta not done yet. He's up into P6. But your race leader is still Rylan Ekberg, and it's looking good for a really impressive race win. He just needs to keep it together. So far, so good. Just keep hungry, keep focused, and keep in control. Incredibly, we've had an amazing 7.5 minutes of racing, and still, to this point, nobody has retired from the race. So all of them are still going. But with Mitchell Gibbons in second and Kian Nakamura-Berta in 6th position, make that 5th actually now. He has come through, I believe. No, still in 6th place. So Gibbons in 2nd and Nakamura-Berta in 6th means that they are dead level in the Drivers' Championship up to this point. So this is going to be an exciting second half of the season if they will be tied for points at the end of it. But the spots of rain are definitely starting to fall, but it's not heavy enough for wet tyres, so the drivers just need to continue doing what they're doing. They need to keep the focus. But Jack Hobson, he's working with Mitchell Gibbons to slice up the gap. It's come down from a second to 0.6 of a second now. So Hobson and Gibbons are working together in 2nd and 3rd. Jack Hobson behind Mitchell Gibbons as they fight to catch up to the gap made by Rylan Ekberg. Whether he wins this race or not, you cannot deny that Rylan Ekberg has had an amazing weekend and he's got to take the positives from this, win or lose. So he's out in front in the British Championships for the first time. 2nd place for Mitchell Gibbons, 3rd for Hobson, 4th for Jaden Gregg. And in 5th is Sonny Smith. Oh, and Aidan Eldridge runs wide at the square left. Manages to get it back on the circuit just in time before losing out to Oscar Tooten. But Aidan Eldridge has definitely lost a few places there, unfortunately. And that drops him down to about, I think, 9th. So Ekberg leads, Gibbons, Hobson, Gregg, and they are catching him. Smith is in 5th. Then it is Kian Nakamura-Berta in front of the O-plate of Connor Duncan. Then the Charmander, Ewan Charman is 8th. And then it is Hayden Eldridge and Oscar Tooten from Thomas Kakurillo Yeomans and Jamie Perrelly. Gregory, Drummond, Duncan, Speakman, Uzakov, McKay, Wesley Swain, and rounding out the top 20 at the moment, it is the German Timo Jungling. As Ekberg has now got Gibbons, Hobson and Gregg all over the back of him. So Ekberg wanting to take a careful look at what's going to come next. But he has to measure this one carefully. Jaden Gregg tightens up in behind Hobson. Hobson tightens up in behind Gibbons. As that's a move in the middle of the pack. A great bit of racing in the midfield. Oh, contact! Hayden Eldridge connects with the 55. And that's caused all sorts of pandemonium. So several drivers involved in that one, unfortunately. That was Jamie Perrelly connecting with Hayden Eldridge. And then 2 or 3 drivers ended up getting spat out of the side in avoidance. So there could well be a conversation afterwards about that one. I'm not sure who they'll say is to blame, but it is going to go on for a bit. But the checkered flag is only a whisker over 4 minutes away, and Rylan Ekberg leads the championship leader incumbent, Mitchell Gibbons, who is set to tie the championship lead with Kian Nakamura-Berta. If he gets second, he'll do so. If he wins with Nakamura-Berta still remaining in 6th in his battle with Connor Duncan. Oh, Gibbons has got the lead. Gibbons has got it in the hairpin. So Mitchell Gibbons takes the lead in not just the race, but also the championship with that pass. That's how crucial a victory is now for Mitchell Gibbons as he runs in front of Rylan Ekberg. Jaden Gregg is up to 3rd as well. He's made the move on Jack Hobson. But Jaden Gregg is not done yet. In 3rd position, he's looking for a chance to go for P2. And now Rylan Ekberg is going to try and get the lead back on Mitchell Gibbons. Where's Jaden Gregg going? Round the outside, he moves up for 2nd place as Ekberg takes back the lead. And Jaden Gregg is through to 2nd. Yellow flags are waving. Where's Mitchell Gibbons gone? Mitchell Gibbons is 3rd. Gregg is now in the lead. Jaden Gregg has got back past Ekberg. But that doesn't change the fact that the yellow flag was waving at the far side of the circuit. We had an off and now it's returned to the circuit. But Jaden Gregg now leads in the British Car Championships. So now maybe we're going to see Jaden Gregg take a race victory. He leads comfortably out of the final turn, having gone from 3rd at the end of the previous lap with 2.5 minutes on the clock. Now Jaden Gregg leads in front of Rylan Ekberg and Mitchell Gibbons. But that is crucial because Gibbons is now 2 points behind Nakamura-Berta in the Drivers' Championship as a result of falling to 3rd. So if Nakamura-Berta can gain one more place, that will almost certainly put the Japanese drivers' lead back in position. As up the inside, Hobson goes for Gibbons. Ekberg goes through with him as well. Yellow flags further back through the field. A couple of drivers in the chicane as Gibbons goes for Sonny Smith. and he just about makes it back through, up to 4th position. Well, with Kia Nakamura-Berta now in 6th and Gibbons now in 4th, that puts the Japanese driver back in the lead of the championship. But it's Jaden Gregg who leads it. Jack Hobson 2nd, and the 48 has been given a warning flag. Now the 48, that is, the 48 is obviously going to be Jacob Gilman, but I didn't see him get involved in anything, so I couldn't tell you what that warning was for. Meanwhile, Jaden Gregg has picked his moment absolutely to perfection, and he's got a gap of about a second. This is critical timing. Up to 2nd has come Jack Hobson. He's hoping for some support from Rylan Ekberg as they fight for 2nd place. And it's going to get pretty brutal, but it's going to get very exciting in the closing stages as Sonny Smith now tries to make a bid to get past Mitchell Gibbons. Kia Nakamura-Berta will be hoping he gets through, because if he does, then that's going to put him a point closer to Gibbons in the championship. But so far, Rylan Ekberg is there in 3rd position, looking for a podium in behind Jack Hobson. And we go into the last minute. So 2 laps to go here at Fulbeck in the Honda Cadet final. And this is going to be a very tough run to the checkered flag for Jaden Gregg, who leads the race. But crucially, when he crossed the line, he did have 7/10 of a second as Rylan Ekberg sets the new fastest lap of the race. He is determined to get back into the victory position. But even a 3rd place finish would be an amazing achievement for Rylan Ekberg this weekend, in behind Jack Hobson as they go through again. But it looks to me as though Jaden Gregg is on course to come of age in Honda Cadet. It's always nice to see a new face at the front end of the field. And in terms of the podium, it looks like we're going to get 2 new faces on the top 3 positions. Jaden Gregg goes into the final lap. Here he goes. And Rylan Ekberg is pushing Jack Hobson down the main straight. He's going to go left. They go into the chicane and Hobson is hanging on in there. Ekberg is absolutely determined. They continue to charge forward. Gibbons is 4th, Smith is 5th from Nakamura-Berta, Connor Duncan, Oscar Tooten, Thomas Kikurulo-Yeomans in 9th position in front of the Charmander. So up to the chicane and up the inside. Ekberg takes 2nd briefly, but Hobson's going to get it back again. Hobson now holds the inside line. Ekberg's trying to sweep back, but this is a fairy tale now for Jaden Gregg as Ekberg tries to go round the outside of Hobson. And here come Gibbons and Smith. Ekberg hangs on to it in 3rd position for the moment, but Jaden Gregg comes out of the final corner, and Jaden Gregg wins at Fulbeck. Yes! Brilliant race. Hobson is 2nd and Ekberg is 3rd. What a thriller in Honda Cadet. But after an amazing start to the season, they began the year in the mid-pack. They made progress race after race, and now Jaden Gregg is a winner in the British Championship in Honda Cadet. Fantastic. What an absolutely stellar victory for Jaden Gregg. 2nd and 3rd for Jack Hobson and Rylan Ekberg. A great result for them. Mitchell Gibbons is a very solid 4th in front of Sonny Smith and Kia Nakamura-Berta, with Connor Duncan and Oscar Tooten in the top 10, as well as Thomas Kikurulo-Yeomans and Ewan Sharman. Henry Gregory 11th from Hayden Eldridge, then Stephen Duncan and Jamie Perrelly, Wesley Swain and Dylan McKay, Zach Drummond and Joshua Gambar, from Ben Rayburn and Timo Youngling, then Gustav Ushikov, Chris Speakman, Macy Hitter, Jay Lawrence, Reese Lomax, Reg Hayward and Stephen Barnes, then Henry Justin and Callum Ghosh, from Callie Clifford, Jacob Gilman, Ethan Simmons and Blake Ticehurst. And an absolutely amazing race that sees Nakamura-Berta hold on to the lead of the championship by just 3 points to Mitchell Gibbons, with Jack Hobson and Connor Duncan gaining big time. But for Jaden Gregg, it's a British Championship final win.
It's a brilliant victory for Jaden Gregg, ahead of Jack Hobson and the sensational Rylan Ekberg. With a few different faces on the podium in the 2019 final, the season is sure to continue giving us some more pleasant surprises.
So it was quite hard, but I got there in the end, and I started 5th, I think. Yeah, 5th, and I got, off the start, someone hit me a little bit. I went wide, a couple people went by and I gained from there. And when coming to the final couple laps, I was a bit nervous that I was gonna like spin it or something, and I won it. We got a good start, and then a few people went by us and we dropped down to like 5th. So then we had to work our way back up, but on the second to last lap, I had engine problems, so I just had to defend from there.
So basically I started 6th for the final and I got a good getaway, managed to get up to 4th, and then I managed to pick off 3rd, 2nd, and then I went for the lead. And then the carts behind me started to squabble, which meant that I got quite a big advantage. But then the 3 behind me worked together and managed to catch me back up. But then I managed to secure a 3rd, which was good.